Hello, my name is Paul. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a really exciting video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the worst movies that I have watched in 2023. Not the worst movies that came out in 2023. I need to be really clear because I know this kind of sounds like I'm talking about the worst movies that came out in 2023. No, I'm talking about the movies that I have watched this year that I thought were so bad. I need to preface by saying I only started using Letterboxd in around July, September-ish time, so therefore we only have 220 movies to talk about rather than the 316 I have watched so far this year. And I say so far because we have 10 days left, so I'm sure I'm gonna watch some bad movies. There have been some stinkers, some boring ass movies that I have watched, and I am gonna show you those movies, and I'm gonna give some honorable mentions that were kind of bad. So we'll go through my Letterboxd here. We're gonna go through the movies that I gave maybe 2.5 stars, 2-ish stars. There will be our honorable mentions, and then we're going to be talking about the movies that I just really hated, and honestly I've probably made videos about them, so let's just get into it. What are the worst movies that I watched in 2023? Let's see. Okay, so there are about 10 movies that I gave anything lower than 2.5 stars, which I feel is quite generous because usually I feel like I'm quite harsh with movies, but this year apparently I wasn't. I only gave 10, I think it's 10 movies, bad reviews, which is quite, I don't know, that's quite impressive. So let's start off with the first movie, 2.5 stars. We're going to call this an honorable mention for a bad movie. Imprint. This movie was described to me, as you can even see by the poster, just disgusting. It's meant to be horrible, meant to make you... It's the director of Audition, and I was like, okay, what's this about? I'm excited, let's watch this. And this movie had some awful acting from, what's his name? Billy Drago? Horrible acting. This guy is trying to be like a mysterious journalist, and the performance from him was just awful. This movie is meant to be very disgusting, and to that is very true. It is quite disgusting. But I felt like this story was only there because of the disgust. There was no real story, and the story that did exist was so shit, and it just didn't work. For example, Audition, I give this movie 4.5 stars because it just had such a strong story, and the gore and the disgust was so justified. But in this movie, in Imprint, it just wasn't. I just thought it was so shit, it was so boring, and how can you find a movie that's meant to be disgusting, so fucked up, that's only an hour long? Boring. I was counting down the minutes for this movie to end. I honestly think if Bill Drago didn't start off in this movie with some awful performances, and the other performances in this movie just didn't work. It was just so... Yeah, if you just want to watch, not listen to, just watch something a little bit disgusting, sure, Imprint will work, but there's so many better gory movies out there, so go watch those. Then we have It's a Wonderful Life. I literally just watched that yesterday. This movie is so boring, it's so predictable, it's meant to be disgusting, it's meant to be a slasher, it's meant to be fun, but this movie is not that. There's mystery created in this movie that's revealed to you, and then from that, it's revealed to you in a very interesting way, don't get me wrong, but from that, the story doesn't really go anywhere. The characters are so awkward. This movie just feels like a Hallmark Christmas movie that's tried to be a slasher. I respect the attempt, but nothing else. I didn't like this movie. Spring. Okay, so this movie started off and I was feeling it. I was like, wow, this is cool. Is she going to be like a vampire? What is the mystery here? And the mystery revealed to you, it's revealed very, very quickly. And this movie, realistically, should have been about 70 minutes long, but this movie is almost 2 hours long. For the last 40 minutes, it just felt like the director was like, yeah, let's see what other scenes we can throw into here. And they just did it. And it was just like, can this movie fucking end? And I hate when a movie just keeps going and going, when it should have ended a really long time ago, because the story just starts to fall apart. And the more you watch it, the more you're like, okay, can this fucking end? Because I'm starting to get annoyed. I'm starting to dislike this movie. And that's how I felt with this movie. The further it went, the more stupid it fucking got. And it just really pissed me off. The first 40 minutes, I was like, wow, 4 stars. And the latter 67, whatever, I can't do my maths right now. It just felt awful. I really did not like this movie. The relationships worked so well initially, and then it just fell apart for me. And I'm sorry, Spring just did not work. The Lure, I was like, okay, this is going to be a weird mermaid movie, and it was, but I did not expect this Polish mermaid movie to be a musical. Already on the surface, this sounds bizarre. I am fine with that, but I just found the entire story, like, how cool of a concept is that? Mermaids, and it's a musical. Surely it's going to be fun. Surely there's some fucking substance there. No, this movie is really boring. It just felt stupid with no point, no real story, I kind of felt like. And yeah, I could not wait for this movie to end. It was so boring, and I gave this 2.5 stars. We're still in the honorable mentions. Strange Way of Life. I really wanted to like this because there was so much hype about this short movie. It's 30 minutes long, but you know, whenever you watch a school performance of students that are like 16 or 17, maybe even younger, maybe 14, and they're clearly acting for the first time, so there's no like real development, there's no depth to it. It just feels really janky, and it just feels a bit rushed and a little bit awkward. That's exactly how this movie felt. You have some incredible actors. You have Ethan Hawke and fucking Pedro Pascal. How do you not use those actors? Like, how can you fuck up so bad? Like, it just felt so janky. It felt so awkward. The story was so stupid. Like, it's 30 minutes, and you feel like you should learn a lot about these two characters, right? You don't. You learn nothing really about these characters. You learn like the most shallow amounts of information, and that's it. And it's annoying and it's upsetting because I wanted this to work, but I didn't, and that's really annoying. Orphan First Kill, a shit sequel with awful CGI. Feels like the first 30 or 20 minutes are filmed on like an iPhone, and this just, honestly, I don't have a lot to say for this. I just feel like this did not need to exist. It's a shit horror movie, and it just did not need to exist. The ending was hilarious at how bad it looked, and I was very happy when this was over. Cruel Intentions. I wanted to like this movie. I kind of wanted to like enjoy this romance, a revenge thriller type of thing, but also this movie suffered from awful, corny dialogue acting. That's fine. It's kind of like self-aware. That's fine. This is self-aware, and it's perfectly fine. But again, this movie, for the last 40 minutes, it's obviously very predictable. Everything about this movie is predictable, but it just falls apart. Like, they just added an ending. It felt like the last 20 minutes were just thrown in because they were like, how the fuck do we wrap this up? I do not know what to do with the ending of this movie. This movie could have ended at a certain point. I was like, wow, okay, 3.5 stars. Bang average. Very good. No, but they continued it, and I was like, why are you finishing this movie this way? It's so stupid. Stop trying to please the fucking audience in every way you can. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. On to my 2-star reviews. Kill List. I think this is either an English or a Scottish, kind of like a horror thriller movie. Everything was working for this movie. I was feeling it. But as the movie kind of progressed, there was hints towards something that I will not spoil. But that is something that I figured out straight away. And I saw it, and the ending, again, I feel like I'm mentioning the ending so much in this video, but the ending of this movie was so cheap. It literally felt like a shitty Black Mirror episode. And I feel like, I don't know, I really wanted to like this, but I really didn't. It was just a cop-out. It was almost like, well, we have the foundations of something really strong, and that just throw it away. Because, I don't know, the first 30 minutes really worked. The dialogue started to fall apart and feel really awkward, and they just kept blabbering, and I'm like, can we just get on with like the story? And it just, yeah, no thank you. The Blackening, I also wanted to like this movie, but it just falls into like every stereotype almost in the movie, and it tries to be like self-aware and funny, but I feel like the humor doesn't land. It was just like, how do you fuck up kind of like a cabin in the woods horror type of movie, and you don't even make all the characters exciting? They just felt depthless and so predictable. This story was so predictable and upsetting, again, because I wanted to like this, but I didn't. Oh fuck. Triangle. Oh my god. Okay, how do you even talk about this movie? I was told that this is an incredible thriller mystery type of movie, right? I was told that this was an incredible mystery, and the only incredible part of this movie was the ending, actually the credits, because this movie was trying to be like meta, it was trying to be deep. It's like everything is repeated over and over and over again, and it just did not work for me. I found this movie to be so shit, and that is the truth. It was it's meant to be about somebody that goes onto a ship, and like everything repeats itself, self-aware, trying to figure out how to get out of that loop. Didn't work. So corny. Movie looks so shit. No thank you. Jeepers Creepers. I kind of expected like a shitty slasher type of movie. I did not get that. Whenever you watch a movie and you're like talking to the screen almost, you're like, don't do that. That's the wrong thing to do. You're going to kill yourself if you do that. This movie is that, but to this level where it's like every action in this movie has no justification. And it's like in a shitty slasher movie, it's like maybe in Scream, it's like, don't go there, look behind the curtain. It kind of makes sense. But in this movie, personally, I think it did not make sense at all. Villain, the thing was not scary. The makeup was awful. The acting was awful. The opening scene is cool. Don't get me wrong. I like the opening scene, but everything else is shit. Oh, this is one of the first kind of like movies I watched this year. It's meant to be like a POV, self-aware comedy guy like live streaming a haunted house. And I gave this 1.5 stars because the guy is insufferable. I cannot stand the main character, and I know that's meant to be the point because he's meant to be like an influencer, which already, oh no, I just fucking turned off my screen recording. No, he's meant to be like an influencer, and he's like taking the piss out of this haunted house, and it was like a cool concept because I was like, oh, maybe that's going to be kind of fun. It's not fun. It's not scary. There's nothing good about this movie. It just honestly sucks. I think we have 3 more movies. I made an entire video about a Serbian film. It is disgusting. It is scum. If you do not know what a Serbian film is, you can watch my video, or maybe don't watch it at all. Everything imaginable you can think about that's disgusting is in this movie, and it's fucking sick. It's hard, like disgusting. Just think of the most horrible acts a human can commit to another human, even to a child. Think about it that way. And it is graphic. It shows you everything. I was surprised that it was kind of like a coherent story and it looked like a proper film, which I gave it the 1 star for. But everything else, no, disgusting. Next, we have, what is it? Grown Ups 2. Do I really need to say anything? Grown Ups 2 is just not my cup of tea. I'm not even going to slander on the humor because people can like comedy like this. I just didn't find it funny, like fart jokes and it's not for me. It's not for me. And the last movie that I gave, this is my worst movie of the year. I gave this movie 1/2 star. I made an entire video about this. It is like 20 minutes long. Go watch it. But this movie is just shit. This movie tries to have a point. I'm not trusting strangers, to be careful online, blah, 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 all this sort of shit. It doesn't work. This movie is just awful. This movie is just 85 minutes long of the most fucking boring and tedious acting with awful performances. Everything about this movie. The point of this movie, there's one thing. The reason I gave this 1/2 star is because there's like one really, really disgusting scene towards the end of the movie, and I was like, okay, this is what we're here for, right? That's like what you expect with the scariest movie of all time. That's what you expect from something like that, right? You do not get that. This movie is about 75 minutes of build-up of just people talking on Skype at the worst performances and acting you've ever seen in your life, the worst visual effects, just everything is shit about this movie. And then whenever you get to like the scary thing, the point it's trying to make, it doesn't really work. And then the disgusting thing, you see it for a few seconds and you're like, wow, that is a horrible, maybe it's going to be, maybe this is what the hype is about. Maybe this is why it's going to be really disgusting, right? No, this movie goes nowhere after that. It is just fucking boring, monotonous, cyclical, and just the same shit repeated over and over, and it is boring. It is an awful movie, and I feel like this felt like therapy. this felt like therapy. But those are the worst movies that I've watched in 2023. There have been some stinkers. I kind of thought there'd be a lot more than that because I don't really check my list too much. I expected a lot more, so I'm kind of surprised with that, but I don't care. A movie is a movie, and I'm still happy to watch them all because I had an incredible movies filled with incredible movies that I have made a video on. If you want to go watch it out, if you want to go watch that video, sorry. And there are awful movies that I've just spoken about, which I will never watch again. Maybe I'll show them to somebody or recommend them if they're just looking for something awful or disgusting. But aside from that, those are the worst movies that I watched in 2023. What are the worst movies that you watched technically last year, right? I don't know when I'm uploading this. What are the worst movies that you watched in 2023? Let me know, and I cannot wait to hear. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.